نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. So how's everybody doing? So we were basically on a very, very essential part of verse 31 of Surah Al-Muddaththir. كَذَلِكَ يُضِلُّ اللَّهُ مَن يَشَاءُ وَيَهْدِي مَن يَشَاءُ. Thus does Allah leave astray whom He wills and guides whom He wills. And we were trying to understand the concept behind it. And in order to understand, because there's a lot of confusion based on the fact that does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala force people to go astray? Of course not. I hope everybody's clear about that. But how do we make sense of this concept in the light of the part of the verse that we are doing? What I'm going to do is I will, inshallah ta'ala, एक second. What I'm going to do is, inshallah ta'ala, I'm going to reiterate a little bit that we have already done so far. And then, inshallah, and I'm going to kind of complete what I have to explain today. Once I'm done with that, then I will take questions. And I'm not going to move forward. I promise you I'm not going to move forward until I'm sure that everybody is comfortable with this concept, because this is like a very important concept. Okay? Acha. So we talked about what fate is. Was that clear to everybody? What was fate? What's fate? Fate is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He knows the past, the present, and the future. One part of the fate. The second thing is that Allah creates actions. There are certain actions that are completely created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you and I are playing no role in it. Give me an example. Something that happens, you and I are not playing any role in it. The sun rises, the sun sets, the rain, well, rain to ab zara thoda questionable ho gaya. Yeah? Earthquake, hurricanes, you name it. There are a lot of things where you and I are not playing any role. And to understand that there's certain actions that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala creates on His own is also part of it. Okay? There are some actions where Allah wants us to play a role. There are certain things where we are kind of playing it out based on the freedom of choice that we have, or the willpower that we have. But having iman in qadar, having iman in fate requires that we understand we can only be able to act it out or do it with permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Are we clear about this? Simal? Clear so far? Yes. Abhi tak, aage nahi bhagna. Okay? Okay. Then the actions that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala creates, you and I will not be responsible for it because it's not in our control. So you just have to question yourself, ask yourself, is there anything in my control in this situation? If there is, then you'll be questioned about that. If there isn't, you will not be questioned. And I gave you an example last week. There's an earthquake. Allah na kare, your house collapsed. Are you playing a role in it? No. But what about your response? Will you be playing a role in that? I trip over and I fall. I twist my ankle. Am I playing any role in it? Maybe, maybe not. I have to be a little more careful. Okay? Acha. But after it's done and I've twisted my ankle and there's a fracture, and because of that I've not been able to go for this vacation that I had planned out, or to this wedding or whatever, my response, is that in my control? Yes. 100%. And I will be questioned about that. So you understand, when we say qadar Allah, we are talking about things that are 100% completely maneuvered by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and He's not expecting you to play any role in it. But if your response to that particular incident there you are playing a role. So far, clear? Okay, let's just move on. Then there are matters where Allah expects us to make our effort. We're supposed to, like, for example, you've got an exam, you've got a test. Are we supposed to make an effort, or I just sit back and say, oh, whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has fated for me? No, I'll make an effort. Marriage is a good example of that. Allah expects us to make effort, decide, go by the sunnah, what kind of tips Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has given us. And then based on that, we make an effort and accept the end result as being our fate. Right? So we're not supposed to sit around and wait for things to happen. I have to see, am I supposed to, or do I have the potential to play a role in this situation? If I do, I'm going to do that. And even when I do it, I should have this iman, this understanding that I might not succeed. I still might not succeed. Or there is a chance that I would. So the end result is still in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's hands. Clear about this? Acha ji. Then we talked about, a Christian born in a Christian family in a Christian country, or an atheist born in an atheist family in in some nowhere area where. So we say, us bichare ka kya kasoor hai? Why is he thrown in Jahannam when he was born in a Christian family? I am doing my namaz and my hijab and whatever because I'm born in a Muslim family. But uska kya kasoor hai? If somebody is not born in a Muslim family, why is that person thrown in Jahannam? And the answer to that is that it is not guaranteed. We've got tons of examples where we see no connection between where you're born, when you're born, what are the circumstances, and how you end up. What are the choices that you make in your life? Good example is people born in the time of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. All of them should have been Muslims. They weren't. Okay? We've got good example of Musa alayhi salam being born in Pharaoh's not born in Pharaoh's family, but brought up in Pharaoh's environment, the palace where everybody was doing what? Worshipping idols. So Musa should have been, according to this formula, according to this mindset, Musa should have been 100% an idolater, but he wasn't. Why? Why? Why not? No, he used the freedom of choice that he was given to him. And he decided, no, this is haq and this is batil. Allah has facilitated us with a lot of information. And remember, I talked about a situation which is a hypothetical situation, somebody born in like a far off rainforest. He has no idea about what Islam is. He has no idea about Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then when this person dies, we say, Allahu alam. We don't know what's going to happen to him. But in these days, Islam is everywhere through media, social media. Everybody knows about Islam. Now, Allah expects everybody to use the intellect and kind of do what they're supposed to do, take the right decisions. Really doesn't matter where you're born. Then you'd say, but I'm lucky and he's not because he's born in a Christian family. No, I think he's lucky. He still has, a little bit of leniency coming from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But you and I, born in Muslim family, not doing our namaz, not doing our hijab, not kind of like, abiding by the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, jabki bachpan se dekha hai, is like a serious, you're seriously asking for trouble. So please don't say, oh, you know what, we are lucky. They're not, it's the ulta. I feel I won't use the word unlucky, but we are should be more worried about the fact that I'm born in a Muslim family. So you see, nobody's lucky or unlucky. If Allah has made me, has given me the environment where there's Islam and Azan going on and Muslims and, Quran class and whatnot, the ease that Allah will, provide me on the day of judgment is going to be like negligible because I will have no excuses whatsoever. So I don't know what's going to happen to that Christian baby who died as Christian. I honestly don't know. And I don't need to worry about him either. I need to worry about myself. What have I done with all the environment and the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has facilitated me in this dunya? That's what I should be worrying about. Everybody clear about this? Acha. Then we came to another, and I think this is where we were thrown off last week. everybody's time of death is surely determined by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if there is a guy who comes and shoots this person who was bound to die, uska to time likha hua tha, then why is that murderer guilty? Why is he punished? Usko to marna hi tha. And I had kind of posed a question, says who? Who says that usko marna hi tha? And I shared with you a concept where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala creates a cause and effect together. A cause and effect is created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala together. So if there is some form of a cause, it will lead to a particular kind of effect. Where's that girl who met with a car accident? Is she here today? What did she say? She said that everybody around me said after the car accident that she was in the car, that you were surely to die. You did not die. So she said, well, the cause was there, but I did not die. How do you understand that? The cause was not to kill her, the cause was to injure her, or she shouldn't get injured either. She was absolute. So the cause was what? To make sure the car is completely destroyed. The cause was for you and I to think that there's an entity up there who had kind of destined that she's not going to die. That's the cause. The cause wasn't for her to die. You and I will never know what is the time of death until it happens or until it doesn't happen. You and I can't say beforehand, iska to waqt likha hi tha is waqt. वो वक्त लिखा हुआ होगा, there will be some physical law, there will be some cause that is going to lead to that death. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I think, has made it very easy for us. There's always a cause. There's always a cause behind anything that we see in this dunya. So if you remove the cause, you and I just can't say, whether, the effect is going to be the same or not. You and I are not to say, uska to waqt hi likha tha, uska waqt nahi likha hua tha, for all we know, because the cause is not there. Let's say if the murderer was not in the room to kill the person, the cause khatam ho gaya na? The cause khatam ho gaya, the effect bhi khatam ho gaya, that person wouldn't die. Ab wo jo cause jo bana, the murderer will be questioned. Why? Because the murderer had freedom of choice. He had that willpower to decide if I want to kill him or not. Let's say if he decided to spare that person, तो क्या था? हम नहीं कहेंगे और उसका तो वक्त लिखा था, what happened? उसका वक्त नहीं लिखा हुआ था. ठीक है? And I'm going to kind of, inshallah, explain this furthermore for you to understand. But before that, the last hadith that we did, usko thodi si baat karke, and then I'll go to explain, and then I'm going to explain in very few words. And I've thought about it this week as well. How should all of this should be simplified for you, and make it easy for you to go and kind of explain this to anybody who's kind of doubting fate. The last one was where Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, what did he say? That you should give charity without delay, because what does it do? It will stand in the way of calamity. There's another hadith that tells us that if there is anything that can change your qadar, your fate, that's what? Dua. So we know charity does something, we know dua does something, but how does it work? If calamity is determined by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then how will charity stand in the way? It's kind of difficult to understand. For this, I'm going to explain fate to you in very basic, simple words. There are two kinds of fate. होता एक ही है. In order for us to understand, मैं ये आपको बता रही हूँ, there are two kinds of fate. There is changeable fate and there is non-changeable fate. ठीक है? There's changeable fate and non-changeable fate. Changeable fate is like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's erasable board. He can write and he can erase. ठीक है? So he can write that so and so person will meet, or will experience a car accident. Okay? But before leaving the house, if this person gives out charity, then that person will be spared. He's not going to die. Where has he written this? Changeable or non-changeable fate? It's the erasable board where he's written. The mechanism is how he would instruct the angels, and we come to know from hadith that he would tell the angel of death that this person is supposed to die today. Go and take his soul away. But if somebody makes a dua for him, if he gives charity, then what's going to happen? He's not going to die today. So even the angel does not know what's written in the non-changeable fate. Where is this non-changeable fate? The preserved tablets. So all of this is going on between the angels and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and us. And if there is one entity who knows exactly what's going to be the end result, that is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and He has written everything in the preserved tablet. Remember, I gave an example about two trains, just about to crash into each other. Yeah. You could still kind of assess, you can still make an estimate, but there can be an error. With Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there's no error. He knows exactly what I'm going to decide. If I'm going to make dua or not, if I'm going to give charity or not. Allah knows that. Allah, and eventually what's going to happen is fated, meaning it's already written in the preserved tablets. But why does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala kind of make the angel go through the process? Why does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, why is this like, it seems like, something, God forbid, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is fickle-minded. He can't make up his mind. No, that's not the case. Can anybody tell me why this process through dua and charity? Why is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala kind of made things changeable despite the fact that He knows what's going to happen finally? Why does He do that? Hamna, yes. Yes, it's motivation. By the way, Hamna, it's her first class and she's coming from my elements and she's been with us in that teenagers class for years now. And wow, spot on answer. So impressed. I had to show off a little bit here. So yeah, so this is to motivate us, to inspire us, to feel motivated that, if anybody, if Shaitan comes and says, cancer hai, your mom is gonna die, there's that if I give charity, if I'm going to make dua, there's a high chance that things will change. And if they don't change, then what? You can never guarantee just because you're making an effort. You cannot guarantee just because you're playing a role. वो role actions के form में है, दुआ के form में है, charity के form में, whatever you're doing, you can never be 100% sure, or just because I've given charity, nothing is going to happen. Just because, I made dua, everything will be sorted out. No, I have to understand this is a channel, a route through which I am in a win-win situation. Why am I saying I'm going to be in a win-win situation? Of course, you give charity, you'll get sawab for it. You will be rewarded. You make dua, you will be rewarded. And what else? What else? You are going to feel closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You will kind of feel that, there is an entity in your life who will do things, for you. He's going to manifest your dua, but how he manifests, I don't know. Sometimes, I might be asking something from my mom, but she might give it to me, maybe later, maybe in some other form. I have my faith, my iman, that if I've asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, ab chai, even if I lose my mom because of the illness that she has, there's some khair in it. Either in this dunya or in the akhirah. In fact, I would say in this dunya and akhirah both. It's not either or. Because I played my cards the way I should have. I've done what I should have. I made dua, I gave charity, I kind of took her to the best doctor. I did whatever I could in the given resources. And now I have complete faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that whatever is going to happen is there's some form of khair for my mom, for me, inshallah ta'ala. And I'll say, Allah, I'm razi with you. I'm pleased with whatever you have destined for me. This is what a moment does. Are you with me? Everybody? Simala, are you with me? You sure? Yeah? Because there's another thing that I want to share with you. So, abhi tak any questions? Okay? Let's move on. Now coming to this part of the ayah. And for this, I'm going to, inshallah, I'm going to share the slide. I actually kind of made 2 circles to show you the whole situation. Anyways, I want you to imagine there is a huge circle, right? And within this circle, there's a small circle. ठीक है? So two circles. एक के अंदर एक है. The big circle, it has all the things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allows to happen in this dunya. What word did I use? Allows. He permits. Okay? So what are the things that Allah allows in this dunya to happen? The good, the bad, love. He allows love. He allows hate. Does he allow hate? Sojo, think about it. Does Allah allow, just a yes or a no. Does Allah allow hate? Does Allah allow war? Does Allah allow peace? Yeah. Hamna, it's okay. They're like, just learning. It's okay. She's like, I know all of this. Why is Sara auntie? Does Allah allow virtue? Virtue in this dunya. Goodness. Does Allah allow sins? You guys you're really kind of like, what do I say to this? Hiba, does Allah allow sin? Does Allah allow people to murder other people? Of course he does allow. You can do it because Allah has permitted. शुरू में ना आज की क्लास, शुरू क्लास इसी से की थी. Allah allows various actions to take place in this dunya. You and I can't murder. Okay, you and I. Do you think I can murder somebody if Allah does not allow? Are you sure?
Yes.
Everybody?
Yes.
Can a rapist go and rape a 13-year-old girl if Allah does not allow? यही तो कहानी है, यही तो रोना है. Do you know what people say? Why is Allah allowing them to do all of this? Does he not love me? Does he not love that 13-year-old girl? Why is he allowing all of this? यही तो रोना है सारा. So yes, Allah does allow all of that. So the big circle that I'm talking about, it includes everything that Allah allows. Is there anything that's left out of this big circle when we talk about Allah allowing things? Does Allah allow anybody to, good question. Does Allah allow anybody to do shirk?
Yes.
Yes, no, बताओ.
Yes.
वर्ड में मैंने want कभी नहीं यूज किया, मैं तो allow यूज कर रही हूँ. The word that I'm focused on the word. Does Allah allow people to do shirk?
Yes.
Did Allah allow Pharaoh to do shirk? इतना मुश्किल क्यों लग रहा है? नहीं, मैं तो पूछ वैसे ही नहीं हूँ जैसे पूछना चाहिए. Yes. पत्ता भी नहीं हिल सकता, राइट? हम ये क्यों सोच रहे हैं कि अल्लाह के हुक्म के साथ सिर्फ अच्छी चीजें होती हैं? अल्लाह के हुक्म, दैट वर्ड हुक्म इज a little, I would not use. अल्लाह की इजाजत के बगैर, अल्लाह की परमिशन के बगैर कुछ भी नहीं हो सकता. Neither the good things nor the bad things.
अल्लाह ताला ने तो हमें वो मतलब पैदा करके साथ ही वो फ्री विल दे दी. तो अब इट्स अप टू अस. अल्लाह अलाउस, जैसे वो बिगर सर्कल में सब चीजें अलाउ हैं.
जी.
So when he gives us the free will, then it is up to us. We do this, good, bad, or whatever.
But can I do anything without Allah permitting me to do it?
If he doesn't, like, if he says,
He's given me the freedom of choice, right? There's a small kid, and and he has a choice between a lollipop and chocolate, and the mother sitting there, and she has a good hold on, maybe she's holding the things. Will the baby be able to eat the lollipop or chocolate, though he's been given the choice, if the mother does not let go of these two things? So is Allah allowing, what if, those two things are not good for the baby? Even then, the baby can only eat if the mom would let go of the chocolate or lollipop. The baby might be deciding कि क्या करना है, or maybe there's like a carrot and chocolate, carrot and some I don't know, Pepsi, Coke. So the child likewise, us, we can only do stuff, good or bad, with Allah's permission. वरना तो हम कर भी नहीं सकते. Are we clear about this? Yes. The bigger circle? Yes. Now let's just come to the smaller circle, which is within the bigger circle. अब ये क्या है? मैंने आपको जितनी contrasting चीजें बताई हैं. So I will call the bigger circle Allah's allowed circle. जिसके अंदर everything that happens in this dunya is in this allowed circle. Even shirk, even murdering somebody, even, raping somebody. You think of the vicious thing that you can. It cannot take place without Allah's permission. Are we clear about this? Acha. Iske baad, within this bigger circle, there's a smaller circle. And this smaller circle, I would call it Allah's command circle. Allah's pleasure. Command keh le, pleasure keh le. And in this smaller circle, what happens is you have Allah puts a selected few things in his command circle out of the bigger circle, smaller circle. So there are things from the bigger circle now coming into the smaller circle. And whatever is coming into the smaller circle are Allah's commands. He wants us to do this. So between war and peace, what do you think will go into command circle? Peace. Between love and hate, generally speaking, I'm not talking about various cases. Between love and hate, what will go in the smaller circle? Between sin and virtue, what will go in the command circle? Are you with me? Yes. ठीक है, ये बात समझ आ गई है. अच्छा, अब क्या हुआ? Command circle, as the word says, these are the things that Allah commands us to do. He wants us to do. He's permitting everything, but the things that he wants us to do, ये छोटे circle में आ गया. So if there is anything that's not in the chota circle, by default, it's where? So what are the things that are left in the bigger circle? The bad stuff, the things that will displease Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the small circle, jisko hum command circle keh rahe hain, is actually what? Sharia. That's Sharia. ठीक है? Then what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what he does is he sends his messenger, he sends his books, he sends guidance, he sends scholars and pious people to kind of guide us. And along with that, he gives us the freedom of choice. He gives us willpower. And along with that, he gives us aql, intellect, right? By which now I'm going to decide if I'm picking things, my actions from the bigger circle or from the smaller circle. Are you with me on this? ठीक है? So he commands all of us to basically pick all our actions, whatever we do in this dunya, from the smaller circle and not the bigger circle. I can still do them. I can still kill, murder, tell lies, and just like I can do whatever I want to. But he commands us to do things from the smaller circle. That's why I'm calling it the command circle. So now those who enter into the command circle, they are guided. And what is going to be the end result? Jannah. Okay? And those who stay out of it, do they have the power to stay out of the smaller circle? Do they have the power?
Yes.
Simil, they don't have the power to stay out of the small circle? Simil, ab khadi ho jao tum Sara. Like everybody should see who Simil is all about. Gigi, but do they have the power to remain outside of the small circle in the bigger circle? Hai na? If they have the power to enter into the circle, of course they have the power to not to enter the circle as well. ठीक है? Acha. So if you are not in the bigger circle, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? Do you think, okay. She said, I'm sorry, your name. Maria. Maria is saying, if you're not in the smaller circle, then there'll be some good, some bad things in your life. Is she right or wrong?
Right. I'm saying it's all bad. All the good things are in the smaller.
If, let me just repeat, if somebody is in the bigger circle, look at my hand, and not in the smaller circle, will they be good/bad things? Let me explain again. There's a bigger circle, there's a smaller circle. All great stuff, noble stuff is in the small circle. Everything is here. ठीक है? It's in the bigger circle. Bigger circle में क्या चीजें मैंने आपको गिनवाई थी? The good and the bad both. अब smaller circle में सारी अच्छी चीजें आ गई, तो अब bigger circle में क्या बचा? Only the bad stuff. Only the things that would displease Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Are you with me, Maria? Do you understand? So it's not going to be good and bad both. It's just going to be things that would displease Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Where you will be disobeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. समझ आ गया? And this person is guided or misguided? Are you sure? Good. He doesn't love, when we talk about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I'm not talking about exceptions, but he does not want us to hate. He does not want us to go and fight, kill, rape, murder. He does not want that. He will let us do. That is what the freedom of choice is. I can do if I want to. So Allah wants us to remain in the command circle or allowed circle. The command circle, not in the allowed circle. Good question. There is, what do you mean by border? Okay, okay. So if you are, so you tell me, if you are not doing everything in the command circle, by default, where are you? I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying it. Allah said, I want you to do this. I command you to do these things. Allah की शरीयत सबको पता है? कुछ doubtful तो नहीं है इसके अंदर? Let's say if I'm not able to do all of this, by default, where am I?
Somewhere in the middle of
Sorry?
On the line.
Do you, I'm sure we all know there's either Jahannam or Jannah. There's no in between. And the story of our lives, including myself, is that we are somewhere in the middle. This, I know what you're trying to say. We are struggling. But as long as I'm struggling to remain in the smaller circle and I slip, I do tawbah and I get back into we all have the tendency of slipping out into the bigger circle, including me, including all those great men out there and women. Yeah. But as long as I'm making that effort, as long as I know this is where I want to be, and I'm making dua in my sajda, crying in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and I accept, Allah, this is my weakness, and I'm not justifying it. Oh, where is it written ke parda nahi hai? Where is it written ke music nahi hai? Where is it written ke main dance nahi kar sakti with, If you kind of understand that, there is a very high chance that inshallah ta'ala, eventually you'll get into the circle. Because the effort is there. The effort is there. Your intention is there. But you're slipping. You promise yourself, ab iske baad I'm not going to tell lies. I'll never miss my Fajr Salah. Slip ho gaya. But what are you doing with it? You're saying, oh, I'm fine as long as I'm kuch to ho raha hai. I remember one of my teenagers a long time back, she came and said, Sara aunty, come on, I'm doing 3 times prayers every day. It was like, what do you want me to do? Do a sajda to you for that? No. And then I explained it to her. We have passwords, code words, and you have lock, security code numbers hote hain. So let's say instead of 3, usually 3 hote hain, there are 5. So I say at least 3 are correct. Why isn't it opening? That's exactly what we do with Islam. We say, oh, why isn't it opening? Why will I not going to Jannah? I'm putting the 3 word numbers correct. What if 2 are wrong? Well, how will the doors open? Yeah. So this is not to kind of give you sleepless nights. Actually, it is to give you and myself sleepless nights and understand there's a long way for all of us to go. And I can't feel proud of the fact that I'm somewhere in the middle, because there isn't anything in the middle in the hereafter. Right? Okay, sorry, I've taken a little extra time. Inshallah, we are going to continue with this in the next class. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun ala al-mursaleen walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.